My name is Amanda Brooks, and when my own family told me I wasn't welcome at the reunion, I laughed on the outside but broke on the inside. Imagine hearing the people who share your blood say you don't belong in the family picture. To them, I was the failure, the black sheep they pushed aside to protect their perfect image. Before we continue, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your support keeps the channel alive and ensures you don't miss any of these shocking family stories. Now back to our story. It wasn't the first time I'd been excluded. Growing up, my cousins had everything: designer clothes, flashy cars, birthday parties in five-star hotels. My parents struggled to make ends meet, and I learned early how to live with less. But no matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. They looked at me with pity at best, mockery at worst, and the wound of being invisible never healed. This reunion wasn't just another gathering. It was their grand event of the year. They bragged about the luxury estate they'd booked, a place dripping with excess, pools that looked like oceans, wine cellars older than our grandparents, price tags only the elite could stomach. They wanted the world to see how successful our family was. Me? I was the crack they refused to let in their polished frame. When the call came, it was my aunt's syrupy voice laced with venom. "Amanda, you understand, right? This gathering is a bit more upscale. We just don't think you'd be comfortable. It's better if you sit this one out." Then she hung up before I could reply. Sit this one out? My hands shook, my chest burned. But I stayed quiet. What they didn't know was that I wasn't the desperate Amanda they remembered. While they rolled their eyes at my odd jobs and minimum wage shifts, I was studying real estate, flipping properties, reinvesting every cent. Brick by brick, I built a company. And the estate they were flaunting online, the one they thought crowned them kings and queens? I knew it intimately, because my company owned it. 2 weeks earlier, the booking popped up on my operations dashboard: VIP concierge, deposit paid, extravagant menu requests. I didn't cancel it. I approved it myself. Then I called the general manager and said, "Let them settle in. During dinner, bring the event folio to me and address me formally. Just one moment. That's all I'll need." Still, I didn't rush into revenge. I let the ache simmer. I remembered every wedding I wasn't invited to, every Christmas card they skipped, every time they laughed when I walked in the room. I remembered scrolling through their glossy holiday photos while sitting alone in my tiny apartment. Those memories hardened me. They gave me purpose. This reunion would be their undoing. In the days leading up to it, my phone buzzed with their posts. My cousins flaunting gowns, my uncles raising champagne flutes, captions dripping with family pride. Each photo was a knife, but instead of cutting me down, it fueled me. Because their perfect reunion only existed because of me. They were dancing on my stage, toasting under my chandeliers, and they didn't even know it. The night before the reunion, I drove out to the estate. Lights glowed across the massive courtyard, fountains sparkling like liquid diamonds. Staff moved quickly, preparing for the big event. The manager greeted me with a nod. "Everything is ready, Ms. Brooks." The title settled heavy on me. I wasn't the broken girl they had cast aside. I was the woman who owned the ground beneath their feet. For a moment, I closed my eyes and let the air settle on my skin. I thought about that younger version of me, the girl who cried quietly in her room, desperate to be seen. That girl was gone. In her place stood a woman who held the keys to everything her family worshipped. As the sun sank, painting the estate in gold, I knew tomorrow would change everything. They thought they had erased me from the family. But when I walked through those doors, their world would crack. And for the first time, they would have no choice but to see me. The morning of the reunion, I woke earlier than usual. My phone lit up with posts of my family already gathering, their smiles plastered in front of the estate gates. "Family forever," one cousin captioned. I stared at it, shaking my head. Family forever? Except for me, the one they'd buried alive in their arrogance. I didn't dress like them. No gaudy designer logos or clunky gold watches. I wore a tailored black suit, sharp, simple, powerful. It wasn't for their approval. It was for me. The woman they abandoned deserved to walk in with dignity. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see the rejected girl anymore. I saw a woman in control of her story. As I drove toward the estate, my chest tightened. Every curve of the road dragged up memories. Birthdays I wasn't invited to. Holidays I spent alone. Cousins laughing at my expense. I gripped the wheel harder. This wasn't just about showing up. It was about reclaiming every piece of me they had stolen over the years. At the gates, security didn't stop me. They knew who I was. One of the staff greeted me with a nod. "Welcome back, Ms. Brooks. Your family has already arrived." My family. The words tasted bitter. I gave a small smile, then stepped out into the warm air, the estate towering in front of me like a stage set for my final act. I told the staff not to fuss over me. No introductions, no special table. Let them believe I was nobody until I decided otherwise. And as I walked through the entrance, conversations died. Glasses froze mid-air. "Is that Amanda?" a cousin hissed. My uncle's jaw tightened. My aunt clutched her pearls like I'd dragged dirt across their marble. I smiled politely, soaking in their disbelief. "Amanda," my aunt said finally, her voice slicing through the silence. "You weren't invited." The room chuckled in cruel unison, the same chorus I'd heard all my life. They expected me to shrink, to flee. But I stood taller. "I know," I replied calmly, "but I thought I'd stop by anyway." My voice didn't waver. It carried, smooth and strong. My cousins snickered, my uncles frowned. To them, I was still the outcast crashing their perfect show. They had no idea the script was already mine. I let them ignore me as they posed for glossy pictures, clinking champagne like royalty. I watched their false laughter, their rehearsed conversations, the way they paraded success as if it were a crown. Not a single glance in my direction. And that was fine. The higher they climbed, the harder they would fall. Dinner was served on endless silver tables, crystal glasses glittering under chandeliers. I sat quietly at the end, invisible. My aunt leaned toward a cousin, whispering not quietly enough, "She really doesn't belong here." My chest tightened, but I forced a smile. She had no idea she was performing exactly as I expected. Then, right on cue, it happened. Halfway through dinner, the estate manager entered. He walked past my uncles, past my cousins, past my aunt, and stopped beside me. He bent slightly and spoke just loud enough for the entire hall to hear. "Per your instructions, Ms. Brooks, the owner's house account has comped the platinum upgrade. Would you like us to extend your guest's reservation for another night?" The room froze. Forks clinked against porcelain. My uncle's face went pale. My aunt blinked rapidly. My cousins stared as if the walls had shifted. I leaned back, calm, collected, savoring the silence. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. I was the center, and they didn't even know what was coming next. "I'll decide later," I told the manager smoothly. "For now, let them enjoy the evening. After all," I paused, letting the tension build. "This is their reunion." My words hung in the air like a storm about to break. Some of them whispered frantically, others stared like statues. My aunt finally found her voice, stammering, "What did he just call you?" But I didn't answer. Not yet. The stage was set. The curtain was only beginning to rise. The day of the reunion finally arrived. The luxury estate shimmered in the sun, every corner polished to perfection. A long driveway lined with palm trees led to the massive gates, and inside, the grand fountain sparkled like something out of a movie. My family had no idea that all of it, the walls, the land, the staff waiting at the entrance, belonged to me. I pulled up in a sleek black car, stepping out in a fitted dress that spoke volumes before I even opened my mouth. Heads turned immediately, whispers spreading like wildfire. Amanda Brooks, the cousin they mocked, the woman they tried to erase, was suddenly standing in front of them, unbothered and radiant. My Aunt Carol was the first to recover. Her lips curled into a fake smile. Well, look who decided to show up uninvited. I didn't bother hiding my smirk. Uninvited? That's funny. Last I checked, the invitation is written in my name. Actually, I handed the clipboard from the estate manager to her. The whole contract is. Her eyes darted across the page, then her face drained of color. This can't be right. Oh, but it is, I said softly, letting every word cut. This luxury estate, the one you've been bragging about on social media, every chandelier, every polished tile, every bottle of champagne chilling in the fridge, I paid for it, and today, you're standing under my roof. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My cousins shifted uncomfortably, their smug smiles dissolving. The same people who had laughed at my thrift store shoes now looked like deer in headlights. Uncle Robert tried to jump in, desperate to regain control. So what? You think money makes you better than us? I turned to him, steady and cold. No, Robert. What makes me better is that while you spent years tearing me down, I built myself up. You thought I'd stay small forever, but I grew in silence. And now you're eating off my table. A hush fell. The silence of a family forced to swallow the truth. I raised my glass, savoring the moment. Here's to family, the ones who doubted me, excluded me, and tried to bury me. You gave me every reason to succeed, just so I could watch this exact moment play out. So thank you. Really. Not one of them could look me in the eye. The shame was thick, almost satisfying enough to taste. My mother, standing beside me with pride in her eyes, squeezed my hand. For once, she didn't have to defend me. I had defended myself. And as the music started again, I leaned back, letting the bitterness of the past dissolve into a single truth. They would never laugh at Amanda Brooks again. Because this time, I had the last laugh. If you were in my shoes, would you have let them celebrate under your roof? Or would you have made them feel every second of the truth? Comment below and tell me. What would you have done?